Hello everybody and welcome to tonight. Tonight we have Bad Tempered Badger. We've got a little bit of an Irish theme tonight because it is St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day everybody. I hope you all brought wine. Did you all bring green beer and wine and all, yeah? And yeah, we have Badger. So Badger, for the people who don't want to know, the people who don't know who you are, do you want to just let them know who you are?
Yeah, why not? I suppose that's a fun way to begin there. Yeah. So, hello everyone. I am the Bad Tempered Badger. I talk about things and stuff on the internet from time to time. What do I talk about? I do story readings, I do nature videos, I do a little bit of atheism-related stuff, I do whatever my views on current events are occasionally, although I've been not doing much of that lately. I do just whatever I feel like doing, really.
It's a representation of yourself.
Yeah, you can. It's my YouTube channel is kind of an eclectic mix of stuff that I want to put on the internet.
Well, his links are all in the description if anyone wants them.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Gab, Minds, BitChute, and Pornhub.
What's your email address for those? Because I had trouble finding your email address, Badger. You wouldn't let people know what your email address is.
You had trouble finding it, did you? Well, I better put it up in the chat then, didn't I? So it's, if you need to get a hold of me for official badgery things, my email address is badger@cock.li.
I wanted to save that for yourself.
So I put it in the chat. So anyone who wants to email me, I try to check it each day at some point, although I do miss days occasionally.
Yeah. Well, you do be
busy.
I'll
get back to you immediately. Don't panic. I will try to respond eventually.
So Badger, a lot of people would always make a reference to you when they're talking about Star Wars and stuff. That would definitely be.
Is that so?
Yes, I have heard people when they mention Star Wars, they're like, there's a man you need to talk to.
Well, I like a bit of Star Wars. I've been very much into Star Wars for quite some time now. Several decades I've been a Star Wars boy. However, in the last few years, Disney's taken over. And they've been fucking it right up the arse.
Really?
Apologies to any family-friendly viewers.
Oh no family-friendly viewers here. So we're not a fan of Disney.
Not in their Star Wars attempts. No.
They're going to make it worse.
Not really at all. In recent years, I don't think they've made a good film in the last several years.
So you weren't a fan of Frozen? Man, I didn't watch it.
Let's see. I've seen Frozen. Frozen was okay. I saw Frozen far too much because of certain relatives.
Yes.
But I think Disney. But was Frozen actually Disney proper, or was it Pixar?
I have no idea, man. I didn't fucking watch it at all. I wouldn't watch that sort of thing.
Let me have a look. Let me have a little check here. Frozen 2013 film. I don't know. It's Disney proper. Okay, so maybe they've made one okay film in the last couple of years.
They're okay film being Frozen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although there's some issues with Frozen, which I could get into if you want, because I've seen it quite a few times now. Because at the time it came out, I was frequently visited by certain younger relatives.
Yes.
Who rather enjoyed it.
I can totally understand that, man. I do not mind watching. What is it with the Paw Patrol? Paw Patrol's not that bad. There's also a dinosaur where they're all like trucks and diggers or something. I don't mind watching that. But at one stage, my wee girl loved In the Night Garden or In the Midnight Night Garden or something. And I wanted to lift the TV and fuck it out through the window, rock and roll style, when that shit come on. I can't stand in the night garden.
Some friends of mine, their daughter is very much into. She likes Paw Patrol. She likes She-Ra, the new version of She-Ra.
Oh, there's new She-Ra. Oh,
yeah. It's not a continuation of the previous one. It is a completely new thing.
all right.
So for fans of the original She-Ra, I'm sure that from what the outrage I've heard online, I think a lot of them are kind of about that, like I am about Disney Star Wars.
Right.
But I'm going to be a little hypocritical in that sense and say, as someone who didn't watch a huge amount of the original one, I kind of like the new one.
Yeah, I wouldn't have watched it. I know of it, and it's better something based on that than fucking some of the shit they're putting up there now, boy.
Mm-hmm. But what was I going to say? She's figured out how to say Shrek.
Brilliant.
So Shrek is on a lot.
If it's going movies, mine likes the Stork. Have you seen the Storks?
I don't think I've seen the Stork.
You need to watch the Storks, man. The Storks is brilliant. I've watched it on my own without the child. That's how good it is. Okay, that's
a recommendation.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very funny. A pack of wolves just turn into a boat and stuff like that and everything, and it's like wolf boat, and you need to watch it. Very, very funny. She likes the ballerina thing as well now. Some French ballerina thing on Netflix, and I don't know. I don't like it an awful lot. But back to actually manly things. Let's talk about manly things and grown-up stuff like Star Wars.
Yeah. Let's talk about grown-up Star Wars. So Star Wars, the only good thing currently being made in Star Wars, in my view, is The Mandalorian.
And I have not seen it yet.
I would recommend it, but I would recommend it under the proviso that I make clear to you that I don't consider it part of proper Star Wars, the universe, because it gets several things wrong about Mandalorian culture. However, it's still a well-written and well-made show that is enjoyable to watch.
Right. Well, maybe give it a watch. It's on my list of stuff, finding time to do things, and right now the only thing that's getting precedence is Picard.
I have not seen Picard. A friend of mine who is slightly more Star Trekky than me, even though I am quite Star Trekky myself, I actually have the Starship Enterprise, the Next Generation one up on the shelf up there. Enterprise D, that is. But I forgot where I was going with that sentence. A friend of mine has seen Picard, and his view was started off strong.
Well, I'm 2 episodes behind and it gets precedent, man. That tells you how fucking far behind I am, like, right? Let me see. This might impress you if I can get my camera to work. Will this work? Right. This is the Star Wars Vault. And it has...
Interesting.
I don't know if you can see. It has pullouts from movies and all original artwork. It's official. It's all official, like. Now, they're copies, like, but they're official copies, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
All that opens out and everything, you know.
Oh yeah, no, that's nice. I like that.
It's quite a hefty thing. That's what it looks like in the front now.
Ooh, that's good. I like it. I have some of the things. What am I talking about?
The collection of everything that's in it.
I have a lot of the Star Wars visual dictionaries, which sit down there next to my bookshelf, which is full of the Star Wars Republic Commando series, which you should read. It's excellent.
You see, that's what I wanted to ask you about, man. The whole background universe that does be going on. I think it was Cirrus that did a video on the morality of Plagueis or something, and how the original person that took the Sith to the 2-people rule, the guy that came up with the 2-person rule.
Yeah.
And
give me a sec while I get his name back in my head, because there's a lot of various Darths, and they all have various important influences on the Sith throughout history. But the one that implemented the rule of 2, his name has just escaped from my brain. Darth somebody or other. Give me so Darth Bane. That's the chap. Darth Bane.
Darth Bane, yes, Darth Bane. That was the guy, and he did a video on him on how his philosophy, his particular philosophy.
Oh yeah.
And
was that Cyrus did a video on that, didn't he?
Yes, and that triggered triggered a wee. Oh, what's going on? I didn't really know that there was another universe in book form to Star Wars, and how in depth and far it went. Like the Daily Atheist has a thing that he would ask people on the Sci-Fi Saturday: Treasure Island, all of Star Trek, or all of Star Wars? And he does word it like that. And people always say Star Trek because there's more of it. But if you don't include...
Excuse me. There's more series.
Yes.
There's more stuff that you can look at on a screen. There's not more of Star Trek than there is of Star Wars. There's fucking millennia of backstory in the expanded universe for Star Wars.
That's what I wanted to ask you and bring up, man, because the expanded universe, if he hasn't asked me this question yet, and I wanted to know just how much Star Wars there is out there.
There's fucking millennia before Disney took over and decided to shit all over everything.
And it all came from Lucas.
No. Lucas created the original Star Wars trilogy. Then, shortly after the original Star Wars trilogy, there were several books released. I think the first ones may have been by Timothy Zahn. Let me just check that I'm not talking out my ass here.
Oh, this is the Pigsty, man. We're dirty here. You can get it a little rough.
Yeah, this is the thing. My memory is not that great for a lot of stuff.
I'm saying this, Badger, you're getting a lot of abuse in the chat here. All of your Star Wars is not canon anymore. It's not canon. Everything Spicy wants to know what the hell you are. I'm a floating head, Dave, and he's a badger.
Let me just make something clear here. All right. let me just clarify my opinion on something. Just make sure there's no ambiguity about it.
Just in case we don't know.
Disney is non-canon!
Okay, so Disney is not canon.
No. Now, yeah, Timothy Zahn, he wrote The Legacy of the Force. No, not The Legacy of the Force. He wrote some of the Legacy of the Force. Anyway, he wrote the first ones. Some of the first ones were the Thrawn books. He wrote the Heir to the Empire series, and he wrote the Thrawn trilogy and various books about this character Thrawn. Now, Thrawn, that whole series, a lot of the sort of long-term fans will tell you that's what they should have filmed instead of the quotes sequels that Disney came out with.
Right.
Now there's some stuff that people don't like in the expanded universe. That a lot of people are a bit salty towards the Yuuzhan Vong War, which is this bunch of spiky aliens from outside the galaxy come in and they invade, and there's a whole book series with a war between the New Republic and this extragalactic threat that comes in. Lots of long-term, some long-term fans didn't like that series. They were like, what's all this about? And a lot of other long-term fans do very much like that series.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see an enemy outside of the Republic.
Here's an interesting thing, and this is why a lot of the people didn't like that series. It's not just outside the Republic, they exist outside the Force.
Oh, so Mandalorians can't affect them?
No, it's the Jedi that can't affect them. They can't affect them directly. So let's say that you have a Yuuzhan Vong warrior there. If I'm remembering the mechanics of this correctly, you would not be able to reach out with the Force and grab hold of that warrior because that warrior exists outside of the Force's influence.
So yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Essentially,
Mandalorians.
due to some shit they did in the galaxy that they left, which is now basically completely devoid of life, they were essentially cut off from this, the sort of the underlying fabric of the universe, which is the Force.
Is the force not from the wee things that live inside you?
Yeah, there's an element of that, but let's not get too far into that, because otherwise we'll be talking about midi-chlorians all night.
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to say. Not the Mandalorian, the mini chlorians. Does that just mean that
there we go.
there's no midi-chlorians
Yeah.
in them?
That's kind of there's the midi-chlorians were a sort of an attempt to like mix a harder science fiction element with the softer and more mystical bit about just the Force being an energy field kind of thing. What was it? Oh yeah, so you wouldn't be if you're a Jedi and you're fighting Geosam, you wouldn't be able to reach out in the Force and grab them with it. However, you could reach out in the Force and grab something else and beat them over the head with it.
Ah,
Which is what a lot of the Jedi ended up doing in that war.
right.
But some people kind of, what is this? The thing outside the Force? It's supposed to be like a whole thing, and there was a whole.
So after after that group of books, there was other books, obviously. So there was a lot of books.
Loads of books. There's books. There's comics. There's various There's games with backstories. Like there's Knights of the Old Republic, and there's books written about the backstory to Knights of the Old Republic, which is set thousands of years before the Star Wars films.
Oh, interesting. Well, one thing I wanted to ask you, Badger, and Dave's whinging about it in the chat as well. I usually start with this. What brought you onto the internet? And everybody knows why I'm a floating head. Camera is shit, and it gives me the ability to do other stuff. But what brought you to the internet and made you a Badger?
Well, you see, what brought me to the internet was, well, there's lots of things that brought me, but the thing that there we go. That's what brought me to the internet. The thing that first brought me to the internet was the whole sort of atheist community thing, which I would say is more accurately called the discussions community, often focused around the belief or disbelief in various religious views.
It's very good, poignant, yes.
But that's not quite so snappy, is it?
No, me and Dave have had this conversation back and forth, you know, is it the skeptic community or the atheist community or what's this here? And it ended with him shouting at me, "You're a fucking atheist," so I just left it at that.
So what originally started me off was partly I was watching a lot of stuff and I was agreeing and disagreeing with a lot of points that people were raising and thinking, actually, I've got my own stuff to say on that. And then I was watching people comment on other things like current events and stuff like that, thinking, I've got stuff to say on that as well. Nobody's quite saying things from the perspective that I view them from.
Yeah.
Maybe I should join in these discussions. But I'm some random dickhead and nobody gives a fuck about. So why are they going to invite me in to have a chat with them? So I thought, well, why don't I make a YouTube channel and have and kind of get established as someone who is a relatively calm voice in terms of, you know, I'm not an absolute dickhead. I'm not going to shout at you if you disagree with me.
You realize
outside of humor.
You realize you did just fucking scream at Disney there, and I'm very calm. If you disagree with me, though, I'm very calm, except for Disney.
It's only if you disagree with me on Star Wars. Now, so I thought I'd established myself as a reasonable chap who can have a discussion within reason anyone on any topic, as long as I know enough about it to not be talking out my ass, or that I could just ask questions or whatever. And then I thought, well, if I have kind of the channel gives me sort of a vent to just vent about stuff, where I can put my views on stuff just there, and then they can just exist there, and people can look at them if they like. And it also gives me a lot of fun just faffing around with video editing stuff.
Yeah, you do the video editing thing. We had everything spicy in earlier, wondering what the fuck is that. I think that was his exact words. What the fuck is that?
It's a badger. I'm a badger sitting in a chair in a little underground burrow with nice brick walls and a fireplace.
Why are
And
you a badger, though?
a moving painting on the wall behind me.
Why are you a badger?
I don't know. Ask me, mum.
No, you do go full-heartedly into the, I've seen you on the spot, someone has said something to you, and you've answered as quickly with a badger answer as if someone would with a human answer. So you do go full-heartedly into it, But why are you a badger?
Well,
did you just randomly were one day picking with something and just... Did you kill one with your car on your way home one day and feel guilty?
Well, as to why the badger on the internet, I was kind of... I have something of an affinity for the grumpy nighttime creature. If you talk to me too early in the day, I'm just kind of... I don't want to talk to you.
I know you were UK looking to reschedule this for midnight. There's no one in the UK that would want to reschedule this for the midnight. That's why we went a wee bit earlier. There's very few people in the UK that would be awake except for like me, you, and Dave. I think that's about it that would be awake at that time in the UK.
Well, when things come up sort of mid-evening, you got to either go before or after, and I'm likely to be awake after.
But being St. Paddy's Day, I'm probably going to be drunk at 12 o'clock, so that wouldn't have made a great interview.
Oh, I might be as well. I'm opening the emergency whiskey in a bit.
But just as you say, the reason you came onto the internet was to get famous, get well established, and get known as a cam voice, so people would have you on. Guess what?
Get famous.
Guess what? It worked.
Yeah.
So.
Well, not exactly yet. Get famous. I don't want to be I don't want to be kind of like I don't want to be
well
like
established.
A public figure.
Well established.
What I wanted to be, and what seems to have worked to an extent, is I wanted to have like a presence on the internet where people could just look at it. If I was talking to someone interesting, and I say I'd like to have a discussion with this person, and they say, "Well, who the fuck are you?" I can go, "Well, here's a whole catalogue of stuff that I've had discussions with people on, so you can see that I'm not some dickhead who's just gonna, shout at you for an hour."
Yeah. Well, I didn't,
and that's enabled me to have interesting discussions with people who otherwise I wouldn't have been able to have interesting discussions with.
Like Jill.
Yeah.
Or Trolley. I like to refer to him as Trolley. In saying all that, it wasn't any of that.
Trolling for Jesus, as he puts it.
It wasn't any of your content whatsoever that brought you to my attention.
No.
No, you can blame the stabby woman in the chat.
Yeah,
stabby woman brought you to my attention.
Well, she is very stabby.
She's quite stabby.
And by the way, I see you there trying to get my attention in the chat.
For anyone who doesn't know, there is a connection between Orla and Badger.
I'm trying to stay as on topic as this completely no topic list discussion can be.
Well, there was no topic list discussion because there was other people popped into the background, and then we didn't get to discuss what we were talking about. But what is your connection with Orla? That was a topic I wanted to bring up because that has not been discussed on the channel yet. Not your relationship, but
right. So Orla is sort of a demon lady.
Right.
Who occasionally haunts my burrow.
That's a good way of putting it.
If you know what I mean. So just occasionally...
There's a haunting.
Occasionally you'll just kind of see her just wander in. And just be haunting the place, and probably stabs the people trying to do the badger cull when they come by.
Yeah, for a couple of times I've been watching. Do you know Orla reminds me of the guy in the first episode of the Unicorn Show. Have you seen that one? What do you call it? Unicorns, not unicorns with hats. Llamas with hats.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen llamas with hats? Yeah.
I've seen llamas with hats.
Carl. Orla sort of reminds me a wee bit of Carl.
That kills people.
Yes, that stabbed the guy like 14 times. Who's that? Oh,
Get down.
you get it?
Anyway, so
That totally
so
doesn't
what
look like a
was
badger
it?
blowjob. Definitely doesn't look like a badger blowjob the way she just went down there. You maybe want to
So
make
what
her
were you
go off
saying?
screen off a different way. Carl reminds me of Orla. Or Orla reminds me of Carl. Whichever way you want to look at it. Like the first episode, he stabs someone 14 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
I enjoyed llamas with hats, but I think in the last couple of ones they did, they went a bit much.
Did you see a couple of months ago they released the very last episode of the Unicorn series?
Is that Charlie the Unicorn?
Yes, they rounded up and finished Charlie the Unicorn because they had like a 6 months or a year break. The last episode was out quite recently.
Oh dear, I shall have to try and check this out.
Yeah, Charlie the Unicorn, if nobody has seen that, is definitely worth... They're slightly twisted adult cartoons, but they're definitely worth a watch.
A quick example of something from Charlie the Unicorn would be Charlie, we're gonna go to Candy Mountain, Charlie.
That's so good.
And slightly later on, oh, they stole my kidney.
Yeah. Watch it. Yep, straight between the legs, man.
Get down.
Yes, it's a meat dragon. I'm gonna die. I'm dying from the laughter and the weed. Oh, this is so
dear.
funny. It's so funny. You really should. And the meat dragon's made only out of baby meat.
Well, you need only the finest and supplest meat to make a meat dragon.
When he opened the portal and only white hands come out, and it's because Whitey gotta pay. The first time, I think I nearly fell off my chair. That was fucking hilarious. Oh.
Excellent. I had something I was going to ask you, but I forgot what it was.
Yes, go on ahead, man. Have you any questions for me that you would like to ask?
Well, let me start here. You're kind of like a potato man, right?
I'm from Ireland,
That's what I mean. Yeah.
right?
How's things in Ireland right now? Because there he is. There he is. How's things going right now?
All the rich people are complaining. Everybody's panicking. The schools have been closed down, which I think is a good thing. We have no toilet paper, no tissues, no tins of food.
Oh yeah. So kind of like over here then.
Craziness. Like, in all
Kind of
honesty,
like over here, except the schools aren't closed.
yeah, I sat at, we were at 18% of our daily target today. Nobody's on the streets at all.
Oh, that's kind of. Maybe I'll actually manage to go for a walk at some point. Because
I seen more old people out walking going, fuck the whole lot of yous the day than I did any young people. Like, it's like the old people are taking the streets back.
well, the thing is, I like to go walking, but I haven't gone walking a lot recently because there's people, and I don't like people. You know, the people being near me, like physically, is something that I dislike in general.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go walking and I come across the path of a person, them being there during my walk is like a personal insult to me. So maybe now I'll actually, during this period, I can actually go for a walk.
Yeah, everybody's away. You can claim the area back.
Like I see someone, I'm just, oh, for fuck's sake. I was going for a nice walk, and there's just humans here.
Did they physically annoy you, or did they give you anxiety, if you don't mind me asking?
It's a little bit of both, to be honest.
Yeah.
I get the anxiety because I'm not a very social creature. I am, as may be a little apparent by my peculiar mannerisms at times, I am likely somewhere on the all spectrum there.
Aye.
Although somewhat, I function quite well most of the time, but there's certain elements. I'm also dyslexic and other things. There's certain elements of social interactions that I just don't get, like body language and stuff like that. So they give me a bit of anxiety in that regard because I'm just there like, why are you doing that thing you just said the opposite to? And like, oh, I made the face. I'm like, what fucking face? You said this,
I'm the complete opposite, man. I read people's
Yeah.
body language from top to bottom and can tell what they're thinking, and it's good for sales. You can manipulate them and get them into buying things. So yeah.
Mhm. So there's that, and there's also just, if I'm going out for a walk, I'm on the whole introvert business. So if I'm going out for a walk, it's because I want to be away from, I want to get away from the stuff, the whole human thing. So if I go for a walk, it's to be out in nature and alone with my thoughts. So seeing another person having to do the whole walking past them and nodding and smiling and all that business, I'm like going, well, I was thinking about stuff. Now I'm thinking about I've got to nod and smile at this dickhead here.
Yeah, I know. I hate fakery. When people are all that there sort of thing in the street, I hate fakery. I would be the sort of asshole that would put you and start talking to you though. just to see how much of an asshole and fake you are, like. Honest word to God, man. It's not that if I see somebody awkward, I would deliberately go out of my way. But if I'm talking to someone, and with the exception of, like I'm not trying to be sexually and they're awkward and I leave, but yeah, I like to make people feel awkward when I'm having conversations with them. It's fun. You say things out of place and things like that. And I said here last week, my auntie's passed away, and we were at the crematorium, and they asked my opinion on it, and I was like, yeah, loveliest furnace with seats I've ever been at.
See, that sort of comment I like.
Yeah, I know. I've got fucking faces and weird looks and all for it. My auntie burst out in stitches laughing, like, she fucking thought it was fucking hilarious. Like, one of the other cousins wasn't too impressed, but yeah.
I was at a cremation a while ago. It was at a funeral, and the chap doing the ceremony, it was like a religious themed one. He said something along the lines of, "May the grace of God enfold you." And as he said "enfold," the curtains started going around the coffin.
Right.
And just as I saw that happen, I realized that was deliberate, and it was supposed to be like this whole moving thing. I was just like, I was there like, you fucking dickheads! You've timed this so that when he says "enfold," the curtains go. I had to do the respectful sort of leaning forward and pretending that you're having an emotional moment, which I was technically.
It's the wrong emotion.
It wasn't the standard funeral emotion,
When we went, now I don't think I've said this before, when we went to get my wee girl christened, the Catholic church that we went to was a modern one. It was down the road, not too far from where the girlfriend lived, and nice modern one up on a hill. Can't remember the fucking name of it, whatever it was. But they did it like a production line. Honest to God, there was like 7 people getting christened, and the priest was the first person to leave the chapel after it was over. Last person in, first person to leave. In and out, gone. It was just production line thing. It was fucking stupid. And I'm looking around at all of the decorations and stuff, and I'm seeing what looks like an ankh. And then I'm seeing something else, and I'm sort of nudging the girlfriend, and I'm trying to have this discussion with her, and I'll shut the fuck up. You know, like, did he just go to Religious Stores R Us, or where did he get all this stuff? Like, yeah. Sometimes it's best to just speak your mind, man.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what the channel's for. That's why I started the YouTube business, so that I could actually talk about stuff, but without having to talk, without my neighbour refusing to speak to me for 6 months again.
your neighbour refused to speak to you for 6 months.
Well, not exactly refused, but
Avoided you.
It got awkward. Yeah, it was just kind of, hello, goes inside.
Was it his badger you killed?
No.
Is that too close? Do you not want to? Did you kill his pet?
No, I told him a joke that someone I used to work with told me, and apparently it was too much.
Right. I don't know whether we should ask for the joke now or not.
I've told it before, but probably not.
We'll maybe look for that recording, but yeah. No.
I might tell you after if you want.
Oh yeah. We'll save that for. We'll mute the stream later.
So that's kind of partly what the channel's for. Also, something to do with the whole avatars thing. I think there's something of a split, and I seem to be on the minority side of it, which is that a lot of people are always when there's a YouTube channel or any kind of online persona that gets kind of known, and they don't know what the person behind it looks like. There was do a face reveal, and I'm there going, no, I'd rather you didn't do a face reveal, because I find it much easier to watch when there isn't a human up there.
Yeah, I find it's less distracting. This.
Yeah, I much prefer things where it's either like an avatar or it's just visuals rather than someone on camera, because I just prefer it that way. I don't have to deal with this awkward eye contact and body language and stuff.
Well, I can understand your point of view from that. I personally don't mind either way. I don't like an icon. Now, I personally don't like an icon just sitting there flashing. That doesn't draw my attention. But I feel like this little floaty head, and you're getting something like I'm actually doing this, and are you actually moving? Yes.
Well, yeah, sort of.
I know Nerdy does his. We use the snap camera one, so it tracks your face. That software. So there is some sort of motion here.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I do all sorts of little video things to keep the visuals interesting, but also for when I was appearing in stuff and it was just people doing, and it was mostly just the little icons with the thing flashing around it.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I didn't want to. I wanted to kind of blend in a little bit there, but I also wanted to be a little bit fancy about it. So if I could just find where I've put the thing, I made this.
You still look the same.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Yes, I have seen that.
Yeah, so I made this one, which is, the little circle with the stuff happening.
Yeah.
But then everybody said I was holding a dildo, so that oh dear.
Does look, what are you actually holding there? Now that you point,
it's a beer bottle.
No,
I'm drinking my beer.
No, no, it's more a dildo.
A dildo can be a beer bottle can be a dildo if you want it to be.
But there is interaction there. There's movement there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is what I would.
I thought that was just more interesting than the whole circly circle things.
Could you take this software and make my head slightly rounder and give me a pig nose?
That might be a little bit difficult, but it's certainly possible, but I wouldn't know how to do it straight away.
Different software.
It'd take a bit of faffing around.
And
I'd have to learn how that works. It's not a dildo, Dave.
Totally looks like a dildo. Bad-tempered
Beer
dildo.
bottle. I'll see you in the chat there.
Bad-tempered dildo.
Anyway,
so what the graphics that you do you do these for hobbies, or is this your business? Is this your job? Or
it's just for fun. I gradually sort of got better at making them, and I just enjoy it. I've made a couple for other people. Some of them even still use them.
Dave's is very good, and totally is not based on a certain character. It's totally Dave.
Well, I really enjoyed making that, apart from cutting out the bloody windows on 10 forward.
Some people didn't recognize it as 10 forward and they just needed shot. Maybe that's the...
Well, it's not. I think it's actually not 10 forward. I think it's like a 10 forward equivalent from a different Starfleet vessel.
I think the only thing I noticed that wasn't is you've got the seats that are slightly raised up beside the windows.
Yeah.
The area between that low ground and the bar is too short. It's not wide enough. Listening to me critiquing your work, but
I think that background is actually from a different ship. But it's the same kind of, it's the same setting. It's just not. It's not on the Enterprise.
Here, I just stole this, man. Every single piece of my artwork, the border that's going round this tonight that gives it its little St. Paddy's Day feel, Geosam. The stars in the background. Now, the star thing in the background, I actually rubbed off NASA and tweaked the colour. But the Pigsty in space that you've seen at the start of the stream, that was done by Geosam Works, who's in the chat. He does 90% of my artwork for me. He also did the avatar, the pig in the suit. The pig in the suit is actually me in a suit with my pig icon stuck on its head. We literally I have a picture of me at a wedding in August. I have a picture of me at a wedding in August and nearly wearing a near enough pink outfit as well. The shirt as pink. The suit was brown though. The suit was brown. And I just sent him that with my icon on the top of it. And he came back with that. And I could not be happier. People have complained that the head is too small. I think they're wrong. Because it literally just covered my head. Relative size. I made it to just cover my head. So if the pig's head needs to be bigger, that means in real life my own head is too small for my body. And I take offense by that. I have a perfectly shaped head.
I know what you mean, actually. I have a tendency to wear like a wide-brimmed hat because I feel like the head should be wider.
Well, when I shaved the head, my woman said she'd buy me a hat when we went to Amsterdam. We went to a vintage shop in Amsterdam and she got me a hat from like the early 80s. And it's what we would call like a farmer's cap. That standard old man's cap?
Well, the flat cap.
Flat cap, yeah.
Yeah, I know the ones you mean.
Yeah.
I have one actually somewhere.
Yeah, she got
it from the pound shop.
Oh, well, there was only $20 or 20 euros or something, but it's got a label from 1980 something. It's nearly as old as I am. I didn't want a new one. I wanted an old one,
Yeah, the pound shop one's not super durable or fancy, but they had them in the pound shop and I didn't have one in my hat collection, so I thought, right, I'm having that.
See, you have a hat collection. You see, I got as far as buying 3 hats. That's what I'm trying to get with the story. Got with 3 hats and then don't wear them anymore. Got comfortable with the bald head and used to the freaking cold breeze at the back of my neck and don't wear hats no more.
I just like hats. I think I've got a few badgery things with hats on, but
badgery thing. I don't know. I would collect stupid stuff. Like I have a stone from nearly every place I've went on holiday with since my wee girl's been born.
Nice. I may or may not also collect stupid stuff, but the thing is that I tend to make stupid stuff as well.
Oh, right. Do you want to see something really stupid? Okay.
Well, all right.
It's not really. Hold on to take it out. Oh no, not that. Right, this is maybe silly or whatever, right? But there's some people in the chat, like Nerdy Rodent, like Critical Cripple, and a few people in the chat. And you know yourself, man, when you make friends with people and you make a friendship with someone, it goes a wee bit deeper, Dave. Goes a wee bit deeper than it does than just the internet. Hold on. And the COVID fucking virus has went and ruined this as well, right?
Oh yeah.
I have 14 trees in my backyard and I cut them down during the summer, right? So I have a load of wood out the back drying out. So I went out the back and I cut a chunk, like a branch off one of the trees, brought it down, sanded it down, and clamped it together and cut it into 7 pieces. Now the other pieces are getting stained at the minute, but where's the camera? Oh, it's cordless mouse. You have to hit the button. And minimize that. See this? Right?
Hang on. Oh, yeah.
Okay. and the other bits at the top, it's D-A-V, Dave Con, yeah?
Oh yeah.
And they all interchange and click together, and I was going to make them into key rings.
Oh, nice.
For the, because there's a few people that's going to Dave Con that, it's got MP at MathPig, and I had, the other ones have 2020 at the top. So
Oh yeah.
engraved that in, and I keep bees, so I'm varnishing them with the beeswax.
Oh, nice.
So it's my trees and my bees, and it's a wee gift for the people who mean something to me when we're all going to meet up at DaveCon. And Coven went and fucking ruined that too.
Yeah, well, hopefully it'll still be later in 2020.
Yeah, it gives me a chance to make them a wee bit better now. Might get to polish them and all.
That is a good point.
But, yeah.
One of the things that I make is wands, in the kind of vaguely Harry Potter-esque style. I like carving wands out of wood, and I do a bit of the pyrography and then I varnish them up all nice.
Yeah, no,
and
I
another thing that I make is walking sticks.
I was just about to say that, man. If I go out to the car, I've one in the boot of the car that I made from start to scratch, and coated the whole thing in the beeswax, put a cord handle up around the top of it with some sort of a foreign coin that a guy tipped me with one time, and it's got a hole in the middle, so I wrapped that up into it. And you know that liquid cement that you can get? I got a 10p piece and liquid cemented it to the bottom of the walking stick so you can walk on it, on harder stuff, and it doesn't break the wood and everything.
Oh, nice.
And there was a nut just on the side of it, and because I was out walking with the daughter at the time, whenever I trimmed the branch off of the side, the nut came out as the shape of a heart, which I thought was quite nice too. I know. I'm just gonna have to go and get it. You can enter. Watch this, right? I'll be back in 2 seconds. Is Dave gonna unmute? Can we scare Dave? Is Dave there? Is Dave there? Dave gonna unmute? No, he's not gonna unmute. Is Badger gonna have to talk to everyone for 2 seconds?
Oh well, yeah, right. Let me get something to do. So everyone,
are you ready?
On the internet.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I will talk to people.
Okay, talk to people.
Questions for me in the chat. If you have a question, put it in the chat, and I will maybe answer it. While I'm waiting for anything to appear, I will tell you that once Mr. MathPig has returned, I will see if I can show him a walking stick that I've made. I think he'll appreciate it, but I shall have to figure out a fun way of making it appear on the screen. So, any questions in the chat, anybody? And while we're waiting for them, oh, I've run out of words. Apparently, I would like your swagger stick, Rory. I think I probably would, and I would very much like to see it sometime. Why am I so sexy? I don't know. I was just made this way. Yeah, seriously, you'd have to ask me, Mother.
Well, that was probably the worst thing an interviewer could ever have done in an interview, but I don't care. Because
it's alright, I got a question from the chat of why am I so sexy? I said, ask me, Mother.
No, the reason I got so excited is because, in all genuine, when I made this, I spent like maybe a week doing this and getting it right and sanding it and all the rest of it, and nobody gave two flying fucks. Literally, all they said to me was, "It's a stick. It's just a fucking stick." And I was like, "No, it's not. It's a perfect stick. It's I don't know." Right, camera. There's the coin.
Oh, hang on, let me get in there. Oh yeah.
Right, it's got a hole in the middle. I've no idea where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
And I put that into the. It came out a lovely color with the the red at the bottom.
Yep.
Where's the nut? Is that or is that not a heart?
Yeah, it looks a bit hearty to me.
And then I got my 10p in the bottom.
Oh, nice.
So it doesn't wreck. And it's got a wee nice curve at the top. I hold it, like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's a nice stick.
I'm just gonna mute myself a sec while I get myself sorted out to see if I can show you something.
So that was my stick. I think my stick's an impressive stick. Although the girlfriend just says, it's only a stick. I carry it and use it that much now that the daughter had to get one, and hers isn't as fancy or done up or anything like that, and if you leant too hard on it, it would break. But she has one, stays in the boot beside mine. Dave is losing his blue status.
What's he done now?
He's making a "does your mother like your stick" joke in the chat.
Oh dear.
I seen that knock.
Alright.
I seen that knock was about our Vars's debating Destiny. There's been a massive build up for that. Thought it was cancelled up until the other day ago. But yeah, man, you enjoy that. I really appreciate you coming in. Thanks very much.
I'm just going to see if I can... What am I talking about? I'm just going to see if I can show you this walking stick.
Without showing your face.
Well, you can see my face. I'm here.
I see. Laughing in disbelief, Andrew. Thanks very much for coming in, man.
Alright, so if I just point this there, and then I should be able to go like this.
I'm going to make a joke that Orla's already seen your stick, but...
Okay, now if I go like that, what do you see?
I see a wall. And some gloves.
Now, here is my stick.
Oh, is that blackthorn?
Well, this is leather.
Oh, that's leather. Oh, I thought it was...
This is a leather wrap. I believe it's made of silver birch underneath, but it's difficult to tell because of the very dark yacht varnish that it's covered in.
Ah.
It's coated in a thick layer of my granddad's old yacht varnish, which is a dark red. And that I've also put a little bit of resin over it to make it more sturdy because I kept chipping the varnish while I was twirling it round. It has a nice golf ball on the end. And it's very comfy to use. This is my insurance policy for if my legs stop working.
Oh, it's nice.
And it has a nice rubber tip. And if you take that rubber tip off, it has a much more sturdy plastic tip underneath from the glue gun, which I've carefully formed so that I can use it as a fighting stick if I need to. I do have some other more impressively made in terms of the woodworking side of it, walking sticks, but I don't have them in reach of me at the moment, unfortunately.
One time I was driving up, if anyone doesn't know, the girlfriend lives 2 hours from me, and he asked me would I take like a fucking half-hour detour. It ended up being over an hour detour, and I ended up having to go the whole way up north to right up at the very north of Northern Ireland. And this guy, Blackthorn, you know of Blackthorn walking sticks, yes?
I know of Blackthorn, yeah.
Yes, and they are all the rage in the military.
Oh yeah, well I think they would be, yeah.
Yeah. Well, my dad's...
We are talking about shillelaghs here, aren't we?
No, a walking stick.
Just a standard walking stick.
It's a Blackthorn walking stick. Do you know the Blackthorn walking sticks that I'm talking about, though? They're sort of a thing. Look them up on the internet. They're a thing, right? And
I'm pretty sure I know what you're on about. But
yeah. Well, he made me drive fucking like what's supposed to be a half hour turned up being an hour and a half out of the way, and get this Blackthorn walking stick for him. They were like £70 for a piece of wood, man. Right? That's just been cut off a branch and polished up, and they put their military badges at the top of it, and his what do you call it? Know that the stamp that you have at the bottom. His is a casing from when he was doing in Iraq. That's what he has for the bottom of his.
You know about the kind of metal like base bit.
Yeah, like a brass sort of that yellowy coloured thing for the bottom of it.
Ferrule, that's the word. Yeah.
Yeah, his bin in his office is a fucking.
Hair in the chat.
His bin in the office that he has in the house, in his house, is actually a fucking used mortar shell from Iraq or Afghanistan. It's fucking mad. It's like, why is there a dent in it? Because it's used. Okay.
Outstanding. Yeah. This walking stick that I showed you here is it's I've made it over the course of quite a few years because I made it when I made like the first bit when I was considerably younger, which is why it's coated in my granddad's yacht varnish because I made it with the help of my granddad at the time.
Yeah.
And then I carefully chiseled out the kind of a dip in the top for the golf ball to sit in, and then I put a screw into the golf ball and into the wood itself, and went round it with like resin and stuff to keep it in place. And it looked really shit at first when I did it, but I was really pleased with it at the time because it was a project I did with my granddad.
Yeah.
But it didn't look that great. So what I did like a few years later, after doing a lot more woodworking and making some much more impressively made walking sticks, I thought to myself, I'm going to revisit that one because my granddad wasn't around anymore. But that was a project that I did with him, so I wanted it to be with me sort of for a long time. So I basically, it got a bit battered around by me swinging it around and, doing the old lightsaber noises.
Yeah.
So I revarnished it with sort of the last of the old yacht varnish, coated it in epoxy so that wouldn't then, get all chipped and busted up, and wrapped the whole handle area in leather so you couldn't see all the awful gluey epoxy work I'd done before that didn't look very nice. So now it's actually like a proper coherent thing. It's my walking stick rather than just a shitty bit of wood with the golf ball on the end.
Yeah, no, I think making things like that and doing things like that, like I would craft an awful lot out of wood. I think wood's fantastic to work with. And I took pride in making this walking stick, My ma has what we would, what do you call, is it an auger? The big massive cookers?
I think I know what you mean, yeah.
And, yeah, like an old sort of farm style thing that's about 6 foot wide and has 12 rings and 4 ovens and all that there sort of shit. That's what my ma has. And then I had just literally a crumpled up bowl of beeswax beside me in a bowl. And I would just rub it into the stick and then hold it across the flame until it got soft. And then, rub the whole thing in. And I must have spent 2 hours at that, like. And then you go and you show it to the girlfriend and she's like, it's just a stick. You've just made a stick prettier. It's like, fuck off. You take pride in these things.
It's craftsmanship.
Yes!
But the thing with me wands, let me just see if I can get.
The same with these key rings and all
Let me just see if I can get a couple of me wands to show you.
Same with these key rings, there's one for Dave and there's one for Bill. There's a few for a few other people, these things, and yeah, I put time and effort. There's hours in this thing. There would be more than a week's worth of work already in this, like.
Oh, I didn't click unmute.
Nope, but you're back now.
Now let me just. I've got like a. Let me just get a couple of the ones that I'm most pleased with here, so that I can show you. There's some that I haven't quite finished yet.
It's funny that you actually, as a side story while we're doing this, we all come back from when we went to Disneyland. A lot of my friends all bought wands when we were over there, and I didn't give a fuck. And then when they got back, they were drunk one night having a wand fight, and my other friend didn't have a wand. So I wrapped up just a piece of cardboard, made it into a point, and then wrapped it really, really tight with red insulating tape and went, there you go. Now you've got a wand as well. And it's still up the stairs in an old box. It was just cardboard that hardly wrapped tight in red insulating tape. It's still there.
Outstanding. Right, let me just get the old setup going again.
You sound like Dave with all this crunching.
Right, so if I go to that there, and I should really plug the headset back in so there isn't an echo, shouldn't I? There we go. Alright, go to that there.
Yes.
Have you got a wall?
I've got the wall and the standard hospital NHS walking stick.
Oh yeah,
And what looks like a didgeridoo or a giant
that is a
wooden dildo.
didgeridoo. Now, if I turn it that way a bit more, so you can't see the hospital walking stick, there is a story behind those, which I'll tell you in a minute.
It looks like now you've got a window that you've boarded up because you're afraid of light.
Oh, that's a cupboard. Here is a wand.
And you made that.
I made this. Yeah, it's a bit of driftwood, but if you look closely, there's runes carved in it.
Ah, I can see that. Do you know of the guy that actually does something very similar than you and charges £60 and £70 online to buy these fucking things?
That's just spider webs, that one.
Man, yeah, no, these are lovely, man. These are nicer than what he's charging very big money for.
This one's got runes. I'm pretty sure this is gorse. Here's one that I quite like. This is driftwood again. Let's see if I can move it the right way so I don't go off the side of the camp. There we go. Where can you see the carvings? There we are. So these are just things that I like to make. And while we're here, I'll show you my wall.
And that's your particular wand.
This is my particular one, yeah.
And what do you do with your wand?
I look at it and think I made that.
I really do find a lot of pleasure in making things with my hands.
Yeah, it's the same as with my video editing stuff. I make it and I like making it, and then I've made it. I can look at it and I go, I made that.
And then you move on and make another one.
That is something that I've achieved, and I can just look at it and go, yeah, I did that, and I feel good about that.
Now, I was wondering if you've casted any spells. Oh, that's a curly one.
This is a bit of ivy. And I think that's very much like the handle on your walking stick, actually, how I've done that.
Yeah.
That's wrapped twine.
Now, how did you get it at the end? What way did you do it? I wrapped it with a piece the whole way from top to bottom.
Well, you can see the wood there. But I wrapped it. It's coated in something. I can't remember what I used at the time. Some kind of resin, I think. But it's solid, that now, essentially.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy making things with your hands.
There we go.
My goodness, I had you zoomed in. Let me see. Yeah, I had you zoomed in the whole time, and all that did was take up the 2 fucking screens of the OBS. I did not change it. Oh, what a fool.
Oh, wonderful.
And you know, I'm blaming Doorknob Head for that, because he was like, way to zoom in on fucking Badger, and that's why I didn't. So, yes, it's all Doorknob Head's fault.
Yeah, we'll blame Doorknob Head for that.
Well, Badger, I've planned the after party / St. Patrick's Day party. I know that you have something on. I would much like if you could stay on for another wee while if you'd like to join us for some heavy drinking and St. Patrick's Day and just hanging about. You're more than welcome to stay. But
I do have something on, but I don't know exactly when it'll start, so I can hang around for a little bit longer.
Perfect.
Basically, I'll need to shoot. I'm waiting on a friend of mine to do something, but he's got a lot of stuff going on right now, so it may be a little while.
110%. So what we will do is, if you want to just let everyone know, other than the fact that every link, bar his email address, if you want to put it in the chat again in case people have forgotten, bar that, let everyone know who you are, Badger, and what you're about.
There you go. Email address is in the doobly-doo. I am Bad-Tempered Badger, as has been mentioned once or twice during this stream, I think, possibly. I like to talk about stuff on the internet from time to time. I talk about all kinds of things, just stuff that interests me, stuff that I think should be different, and stuff that I think is good, stuff that I think isn't. I talk about fiction, I talk about fact. I have done debates, but none recently.
What is your favorite TV show?
My favorite TV show?
Yes, if you had
of all time?
Just one TV show that you know an awful lot about that you could talk about. Would it be Star Trek?
One TV show I know a lot about would be Star Trek, but if I had to pick one of the Star Treks, it would be Voyager.
Oh, that's a great show, man. I recently rewatched the last double episode of the whole series just because there was nothing else on. It was like, fuck it, rewatch Janeway twice. 2 Janeways, you know.
And if you want to know what I'm watching right now, there was in the early 90s, you know the film Highlander?
Oh, yes, not the show. The show wasn't great, though.
Now, here's the thing. I'm rewatching the show at the moment. I've watched it once before. I'm actually really enjoying it. There's a lot of stuff in it where it's kind of corny, and you're there like, okay, they didn't have much budget for that, did you? There's one particular bit where he's fighting on a rooftop, and you can quite clearly see that he's using like a sword that's made out of aluminium rather than steel.
Yeah.
And it's bent because the guy he's fighting is like massive, and I think was leaning too much into the strike. So the sword's bent and the handle's broken. It's held together with tape, and they've tried to like just cut. I think they probably like cocked it up in the middle of shooting, so they had to like not do that. What am I talking about? But the show, I really enjoyed the show.
Well, I was watching 2 shows. I just finished one there yesterday, which was Red Dwarf. Just finished it again. And I'm also watching Farscape.
Oh, I do love a bit of Red Dwarf.
Oh, yes. And I don't know, over here in the UK, the main radio station, they're doing an advert for something. There's a red, and it sparked my interest about 2 weeks ago, and I've just stinted it. I just finished it, and I'm on series 3 of Farscape. I'm rewatching Farscape.
Rewatching Farscape, I never really got into Farscape, but it tended to be on in between other things, and I'd catch bits of it and think, oh, that looks interesting, but I never quite got around to actually watching it.
Well, before we do our tangent, the reason I asked you about a show is because Mama Atheist, if you've heard of Mama Atheist, she's starting a wee show where they're doing, you just come on, you talk about a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
That you know enough, and she's a climate scientist and she's a nerd, so Star Trek should be right up her street.
Now that'd be interesting, and I would, if you wanted somebody to talk about Star Trek Voyager, I could definitely talk about Star Trek Voyager.
Out of all the Star Treks, that I have most watched, it would be Deep Space Nine, then Voyager, and then Next Generation, in that order of how many times I've watched them. Voyager.
For me, it would be Voyager, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine.
Well, you're
that would
wrong.
be because I got into, not in terms of my favorites necessarily, but in terms of how much I've watched them.
Yeah.
But that'd be because I didn't watch Deep Space Nine when it was first on, and then I got into it very much later. But when I got into it, I watched the first episode where Cisco is in Picard's office, and he's got that just look of pure hatred on his face, and I was like, ooh, that's interesting.
The last episode of Deep Space Nine does annoy the fucking tits clean out of me. But with the exception of that, right? I've been putting this question off, right? This is a running question, and I wasn't sure how you'd land, and I didn't want you to say, but now, Cisco or Picard?
Cisco or Picard?
I'm a Cisco man, definitely through and through. Picard is Picard is good, but there's more feeling and emotion. And now we're talking series, because obviously it's my ship and all that shit from the But
the line must be drawn here, this far, no further.
That's the fucking line.
We'll make them pay for what they've done.
Yes, that's the line. But with the exception of that,
I don't think I could choose between them, to be honest, because they're both very different captains, but good in their own ways.
What shocks me watching back is Babylon 5 and Deep Space Nine was out at the same time. Babylon 5 got ripped off in the budget. The quality of the cameras, like the suits and all that, were really good. But when you watch Babylon 5 back and you watch Deep Space Nine back, Jesus, the one looks 10 years older than the other. So pick a show, get in contact with Mama Atheist. She's in that Twitter group that I have. And
all right, I will.
Yeah,
in the chat there as well.
Oh yes, she's there. She's always there. She's like one of them rashes.
So, yeah,
she's
I
appeared.
will try and do like a boop on the Twitter later on.
Yeah. It's all good if we all get together. We all help each other out. The more the
better.
more.
Now, should we do this after thing? Because I can drop in for a few minutes, then I'll need to toodle off.
Yes, go and do you need to take a pee or in your corner of your hole?
No, unless you do, let's jump straight in.
Right. Well, everybody, we will literally see link in the chat. Dave, put the link in the chat. We'll just jump straight over. And I'm just waiting on Dave now. And he doesn't have the 15-second delay. He's in the fucking background. So Dave's going to pop the link to the after show in the background or in the live chatty thing. And we're going to do the thing with the stuff and jump over to the other one. So, everybody... See you later. Bye bye. 2 minutes really. Like.
Standing.